Greetings, friends. Welcome to the Let's Get Gritty podcast with yours truly, Dr. India White. I'm thrilled to be here with you. I hope you're enjoying this holiday season. With that said, I do want to get right into this podcast so that we can discuss some announcements and get right to the good stuff. First things first, the Let's Get Gritty podcast with Dr. India White will be featured on Spotify and all of the social media platforms. You can follow me on my social media platforms. Here you have Facebook is Miss India White, LinkedIn is The India White, Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach, Instagram is Indie238, YouTube is India White 123, and TikTok is Dr. India White. Now listen, sometimes if you send me a message, it's going to take a couple of days to get to me. So the best way to reach me for sure, to make sure it's not a scam or some other type of account, is through my email. And my email is india.white.123@gmail.com or indiawhiteconsulting@gmail.com. So I just wanted to put that out there because I know some people reached out to me and they're like, is it a scam, blah, blah, blah. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that that is the backup email. You can also check out the website and you can send requests in the website as well. www.india-white.com for books, blogs, or to schedule me for your next speaking or coaching event. Thank you to the organizations and conference leaders that have reached out to me that have asked me to be a speaker at your upcoming events. I'm super excited about 2026. In addition to that, please check out the Grit Mini Workshop. That is on the Grassroots Workshops website. Please show them some love over there. Check out the Grit Workshop. Check out whatever else they have going on. They have a lot of great things taking place over there, so check them out. Also, if you're needing tutoring or online support with your student learning, you can reach me here at Grit Academy, and I will do my best to service you. Our team will do our best to take care of you all. Now, with that said, I know we are in the holiday season, and so there are a couple of options. You can check me out online. You've got the Grit workbooks. You have the Effective Teaching Practices book. Those are available on Amazon. I did reach that milestone of being an author of over 70 individual works. I'm honored, thrilled about that. And I'm here to continue to support you guys in this work of carrying on the mantra, the whole concept of grit nation, and just thriving through grit in general. I think it's so imperative, especially in the times that we're living in, that no matter what, when we get up, we're just constantly doing our best to move forward and to just propel life forward and to walk in our destiny, and just to continue to reach personal milestones. Of course, I think that's just what God Almighty wants for us. And of course, he'll get the glory for all that good stuff. So with that said, I do want to now transition and talk with you guys today about gritty productivity during the holidays. Again, we're going to be talking about gritty productivity during the holidays, especially in the classroom, because right now students are distracted. They don't want to be there. They are finding reasons to miss school, finding reasons to come to class late. They're not doing their assignments on time. They're just clocked out. And sometimes also teachers are clocked out. Teachers are feeling a little burned out, feeling a little overwhelmed with all of the assignments, the teaching, the grading, the planning. It could just be overwhelming. And then they're getting things coming down from the district. So, it's just one of those things. So with that, I do want to go now into this topic of how we can remain productive during the holidays. So first things first, set mini goals instead of big ones. What do I mean? So if you're in the class and you're trying to prepare for maybe a unit or two, you don't want to scare your students off by telling them, hey, guys, we're going to cover all of these, within the next 2 weeks. Like instead, try to chunk it down in manageable sizes for your students. Maybe the first 2 lessons. I would also recommend that you provide teacher notes for your students, especially in times like this. End of the year, they're tired. They don't, so, just to kind of work with them and just know that you might have to do a little bit more than you're used to or than you want to. And that's you as an educator, just having to be gritty to make sure that your students can stay on top of things. Okay. The next thing is celebrating small wins. I would say definitely during class, discussion, as students are going through productive struggle into conceptual, a conceptual understanding, and they're able to show you that they really are competent in their knowledge and they're developing their sense of identity. Celebrate that. I would say the next one is to teach students how to pause and teach them time management. I find that students just with time management, that is an area of focus. They're all over the place, some of them, and some of them are distracted even still, whether it's messages they're getting online or, friends talking about what was taking place last night. I mean, they're just distracted. So they're going to need your help. And I pray that you can make your classroom a safe place where students don't feel like, they're going to get in trouble or like it's like a place for like incarceration, but more so a place of mercy, a place of second chances. Of course, there's balance to that. Don't let students step all over you. And I think that if you have a legit classroom management system, then that will come about naturally. Speaking of classroom management, it makes you think of my store. I have a teachers pay teacher store that I would love for you guys to go and visit and check out some of the really cool things I have on that. That is for you, for your help. I also have Grit Cahoots that will help you with whether it's time management, helping with a class project, something to do at the end of the school year. So feel free to use that. That Grit Kahoot is there for you. So, all right, so let's keep going. Next, making math feel relevant to the season. So please be mindful and sensitive also that not everybody celebrates holidays. Not everybody is pulling out the Christmas tree. Not everybody is, thankful for just all the different things that come with each holiday. There are a couple of different holidays as well. You've got Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or, like so many different, or Kwanzaa, excuse me, so many different holidays in this time. And then certain students don't celebrate anything at all, right? You also have birthdays. You have so many different things going on. Some people skip past these holidays and they're ready for the new year. There's like so much. So just be mindful, be sensitive. And I would say that, before you just blast your whole classroom with Christmas trees and jingle bells, be mindful that, you might have to have a place in there for kids that is open and accepting to them, no matter what it is that they're celebrating during that time. All right. So now I want us to continue to talk about gritty productivity during the holidays. So with that said, I was able to find a couple of articles for us that's going to talk to us about managing holiday hype and managing emotional triggers and things like it says 5 strategies for keeping students focused in December. So it says, as educators, we all know that December can be a little hectic and over the top. There's distractions, right? A whole lot of energy. You need a little bit more peace on earth, right? So here are 5 strategies that they're sharing with us. Let's give them their flowers. First off, I hate copyright stuff. So who wrote this? This is, it says RCZYZ. Go follow them, giving them their flowers. So it says, and I don't own copyright to this. I'm just using this to share. Okay. So it says, introducing some novelty into the day, temporary changes to a daily routine can serve as a positive distraction, taking a focus from outside excitement. Okay. Starting your week by changing up the seat arrangement or now that might be triggering. Be careful. If you change up the seating arrangement, you don't want this to turn into like incarceration. You want this to be still a light time, still a fun time, and that could be triggering to some of your students. Be careful with that one. Definitely make sure you know your students before you do that. It says, or introducing a seasonal element like lights or a digital fireplace for a calming effect, right? You can get a lot of solar, different, gadgets out there where, you don't have to use electricity, but it's really cute and it's safe for the classroom. I know some of these sites have like these little solar Christmas trees. They're little cute, little, niche, just all in one. Hey, go for it. All right. And then you have here. So the second tip that they're telling us, guys, it says implement high interest activities. Students are excited. So use that extra energy to engage your students in some high interest activities. Let your students research and present during a holidays around the world research fair. That's interesting. So they're telling you about projects, which is wonderful. I am all for projects, especially during the end of end of a grading period, end of a holiday, end of the year, because these students have so much energy right? And so you're battling, how can you compete with the energy that they have, right? That they're bringing into the classroom and the other different things that are distracting them. The best way is to definitely allow them to use not social media, goodness, allow them to use like internet, of course, making sure it's monitored, but then also giving them permission for projects. Okay. So I love that. I thought that was great that they were saying that. Let's keep going. So it says now, then the third point, they say use structured brain breaks. Love it, right? With movement. Transitions can be more chaotic. Use a timed brain break to get students up and moving. Kagan has many timers that you can use. It says have students use cross-body marching for focus. Do a quick stand-up stretch, find something red, sit down, scavenger hunt, right? And you can change the color out as well. Next, solidify your checklist for transitions. Holiday chaos often ensues when transitions take place. So before any transition, display your clear sequential steps for students to see. Clear your desk, eyes on teacher, listen to directions, wait for signal, right? Predictability and clear expectations work best for transitions and keep everyone accountable. And then the last tip that they gave us here, it says implementing a student-led mini lesson blitz. Students live for ownership of their learning. Allow them to take a small piece of the curriculum and teach it to the class. A 5-minute chunk, right? This is great. Now, it doesn't have to just be a blitz. You could do like 20-minute segment, 10-minute segment, whatever. I understand 5 minutes if you're wanting to cover everybody and you do it for like a week. I get that. But still, I mean, this kind of ties into a little mini class project that you can do, and you could schedule it as a quiz grade, or depending on how complex, maybe a test grade for your kiddos. All right. They would love that. Students can focus on a task performance and use their energy productively. It's a win-win for everyone involved. Okay. Thanks, Rich. That's who wrote it. Okay. So I thought that was kind of cool. Learned a lot there. Took me back to memory lane. Bring in some hot chocolate for your kiddos, or, some treats. Let them have a day where they can bring in different items to celebrate whatever holiday they choose in this season, right? So if it's Hanukkah, okay, cool. If it's Christmas, cool. If it's Kwanzaa, whatever, cool. But allow them to bring in things pertaining to whatever they celebrate. And if it's something else, let them bring it in, as long as it's appropriate. And if they want to bring in foods, store-bought foods, run it through your administration, make sure that's okay, and celebrate with your kids. I think that so many times in the classroom setting, we're taking out the celebratory fact of you got into teaching because it's fun. You got into teaching because you like students, and students like to have fun. You cannot get rid of the fun element, and I think it's a detriment when we try so hard to keep such discipline and management that it turns into like a prison. Almost. That's not why we're in education. You didn't go to school 4 years to get a bachelor's degree to come teach, to then treat kids like prisoners, right? Of course not. So we have to remember fun is an element, but it's organized fun. How do we have organized fun, right? So that, everything remains fun, clean, light, and the learning is still moving forward while relationship building is also taking place. So just something to keep in mind for you. So all right, so now I want to talk a little bit more about this, and I kind of want to talk about managing emotional triggers, because we all have triggers, right? I have triggers, you have triggers, and depending on what the situation is, like I don't know about you, like when I'm driving down the road, okay, this is one of my triggers, and it's kind of off, but whatever. I'm driving down the road, and I say I'm on the interstate, and then I see somebody, their feet are propped up on the dash, like the dash. I can't, y'all. I can't. That's a trigger to me. That's like, there's so much going on in my mind. Your feet, you've walked all over the earth, right? We don't know what's on the bottom of your feet. Why in the world, what would you put your feet up there? And then let alone put them out of the window, or, you know what I mean? I can't. Like, to me, that just I just crawl inside thinking of that. Like, I just think it's so not sanitary. There's so much wrong with that. And there's other people that are like, oh man, just let loose, whatever. Had a good day. It's relaxing. I'm not doing anything. I'm driving. I'm enjoying the person I'm with. Hey, to each his own. But I'm just saying, triggers are real. They happen. And so even during times like this with holidays, kids are going to bring, they're going to bring things in. They're going to be doing different projects. And so there might be triggers, and you might even be triggered, whether, it's in the classroom or outside of the classroom. So let's just find some different things out about triggers and how to manage them. Even, tone of voice, things that are said, just different things that we have no idea about. So this is Sharon. She's got all those degrees behind her name. Okay, it says, now, the holidays often stir up emotions we didn't expect. Maybe you dread a conversation. I like it. Maybe you dread a conversation with a critical relative, feel a sudden surge of anger out of nowhere, or start crying when a specific movie comes on. Emotional reactions to holiday triggers like these can be intense, leaving you feeling tense, anxious, or overwhelmed. Recognizing them and learning ways to manage them can help you navigate the season with more calm and ease. So, what are emotional triggers? Holiday triggers are emotional reactions that come up because of the pressures of the season. Some people are dealing with they lost a loved one. Some people are dealing with they're now divorced, or they're dealing with their child moved away. There's so many different things that people are carrying, and that you as an educator, you as a leader, can be carrying in this. So we got to talk about how can we manage these emotional triggers and just really be on top of our emotional intelligence. Because remember, all the guards are off, right? But that doesn't mean that the different annoying behaviors are off. So that's why we have to be mindful of this. And so, like it says here, triggers, and emotional reactions, they can bring unresolved feelings, stress, grief, anger, or conflict, right? Back to the surface. You're pulling out stuff from 7 years old, right? These triggers often show up in ordinary moments. Maybe it's the tone of a relative's voice that feels critical, the stress of hosting a party. Yes, be mindful of this. Or the person that's in the kitchen cooking, doing all the stuff. Be mindful of how you just approach them, or how you're, especially the teenagers that might just take a whole plate of food and then just throw it out, and just not even care about the hours of labor that was spent on those things. So it says here, even a small gesture like an eye roll, dismissive look, or sarcastic joke, right? I'm just thinking of all this. Like, yes. Okay, it says it can trigger a reaction that seems disproportionate to the current situation. And so triggers can help you recognize patterns that lead to deeper healing. So let's keep going. So common triggers include recurring arguments. Why is it always that one argument that loops and anyway, or criticism, judgment, comparing you to others. Gotta love it. Oh my God. Right? Guilt trips or pressure to meet someone else's expectations. Someone's drinking. Oh, we all have that experience, I'm sure, or many of us have had that one person, right? Someone's drinking, controlling, or threatening behavior, harsh or sarcastic tone of voice, nonverbal cues, eye roll, smirks, and dismissive gestures. Yes, our teenagers will be very lit this holiday season. Sensory reminders such as smells, songs, or decorations. Yeah, be careful. Some people, they're going to be just reminiscing about loved ones that have passed on, loved ones that left them for someone else, all kinds of stuff. Overstimulation of crowds. Yep, December 26th is around the way, right? We just had Black Friday, so there's a lot of that. Pressure from social media. Oh my word, to post the perfect picture, to overspend, to be close to your family, all this foolishness. So it says planning reduces the stress and helps you feel more in control. So what's happened in previous holidays. The point isn't to dwell on the problems, but to use this information as the past is the best predictor of what's likely to happen this year. So, yeah. So here's some tips that they're providing us of what we can do. So it says, one, identify likely triggers. So especially like even if you're in the classroom, listen, teachers. So say you're that teacher and you're like, I want to be the rock star when it comes down to throwing the party. And by the way, several of you will be throwing a party the same day, right? That last Thursday, Friday, maybe some of you even Wednesday of that last week, right? Because one, you've got to get grades up. Two, you're like towards the end, you're ready, right? So you want to celebrate. So for one, just know that administrators and principals are going to be on high alert because they're panicking. They're hoping nothing breaks, nothing is crazy. Two, you need to be mindful of, when you're preparing these events, you and the other thousands of teachers across the nation that will be doing this, and good for you. Just be mindful that sometimes students don't really know your expectations or norms, behavioral norms. And they get really excited because they see the bag of Doritos, they see the Publix cupcakes or the cookies, or they see the pizza, they see the ice cream, right? All these things, cookies, the fresh peanut butter cookies, like all these different things, and it's just like they get so overwhelmed, especially sixth grade, right? Grades K-5, but especially sixth grade. And they just start going crazy, and they start raising those voices really high. You know what I'm talking about? And the energy is off the roof, like just out of here, right? And it's such a fun time, but it's so annoying at the same time as an educator if you do not have it organized, because it will be a hot mess. And I'll never forget the first time I threw an event in a class. I did not have rules on how to serve the food, who was going to serve the food. Nothing was organized. I just was like, party time. Here's all the chips and cookies and stuff. You guys get a plate, serve yourselves. Well, what wound up happening is I remember one kid took about 2 huge chunks of ice cream out of the, box, cardboard container of ice cream. And oh my word, there was like no ice cream left for anybody else. He was so happy. He ate all of it. And then he talked about brain freeze. So, it's it's one of those things. If you're going to do this, please make sure you plan it. Make sure it's run by your administrators. I pray your administrators are nice, that they will allow you to host events on campus. And administrators out there, maybe you have to have a TLC talk with your staff and say, listen, I know the kids are, and listen, sometimes parents will override anything you have to say, and they'll bring in 24 cupcakes, 2 boxes of chicken, ice cream, and they'll say, thanks for teaching our kids. Boom. So what are you going to do? What, throw out all the food? No. You're going to have to learn how to be flexible and to make the best out of the situation and really make it fun. And I would say administrators should, they should draft up something, some type of email. Hey, I know it's coming towards the end of holidays. Here are our expectations. Here are the norms. This is what we're allowed for this holiday. If you do have a party, make sure that, maybe you're doing something academic to go with it. If it's like a project, make sure you run it by us first. They need to do something so that, you're not getting surprised with a walkthrough from your administration. And then of course it just seems light and fun. I always loved it whenever I was doing a project or an event and there was like food served and stuff. And I had the cool administrators that would walk in and get a plate, it's just, oh yeah, okay, good, cool guys, cool. Like, let me get a plate, pass it over to me. It was so much fun because we knew the pressure was off and we really cared for each other. And the learning was definitely still taking place, but that human element really was there. It was a lot of fun. So, with that said, be mindful of that if you are going to do it, make sure it's organized, fun, and make sure you're managing triggers, and be mindful, because when students are, going through the line, serving themselves, taking a seat, grabbing a drink, be mindful that you have to be very meticulous with that, because you don't want this student to knock over that student's drink, or that student to take this student, or that student might be throwing chips at that student. There's so much that you have to really keep your eyes out. And that's why it's important that you establish norms. And I would tell my kids, listen, if I can't trust you with this, if you don't, comply, and if your behavior is not like immaculate, I'm shutting the whole thing down for the rest of the year. And they knew I meant business. And that's the thing. Your students have to know that you mean business. And then they'll line up accordingly. All right, so let's keep going. Enough of my rhetoric, but Lord knows I love celebrating with the kiddos. Now, figuring out how long you'll stay. This is just in general, whether it's like in a class or if it's like outside of school, you're dealing with things like that. So if you're going to stay for 2 hours instead of the whole day, leave when you originally planned to. That can be hard sometimes, especially when certain conversations open up, right? And then it says prioritize self-care. I think this is just like, if I could do my vision board all over again, I think that would have been at the top, because I think so many times we leaders, educators, corporate leaders, whatever, family member, whatever, we prioritizing self-care is like number 100, right? We just don't do it. We put everybody else before us. We do everything else before. And it's sad because some people are just literally just driving themselves just beyond crazy limits, trying to do everything else for everybody else. And sometimes you got to just take a step back and say, enough is enough. I have to take care of myself. Okay. Find your allies. Please be around people that love you, that like you, that want you there. Stop trying to push yourself around people that don't like you, that don't love you, that don't care about you. And, you can find out who those people are by just, whenever you're in a drastic situation, find out who are the people that you have on your speed dial list. Then, that's your tribe. Those are the people that you want to keep close, or the people that reach out to you and they express like true love and true support, and they just got a good vibe, and you've seen it and you've tested it. Keep yourself around those people. But I like here, it says, find your allies, ask someone you trust for what you need, establish a code word that means I need to leave, or ask a sibling for backup. All right. And then it says how to handle holiday triggers in the moment. So take a few slow, deep breaths. Y'all better listen. Okay. Take a few slow, deep breaths. Deep breathing calms your nervous system. 2, pause before responding. Even waiting a few seconds can help you respond more intentionally. 3, I don't know how much this one can help, but it says, notice your emotions. Simply naming an emotion reduces its intensity. Not really in my case. I think in my case, I would say, I know I'm angry and I'm going to stay angry. And it's not good. Okay, 4 is good. It says step away, go to the bathroom. This works. Splash water in your face, go play with the dog, take a quick walk. Give yourself space to clear your head and regroup. Okay, please keep these in mind. Communicate your boundaries is the next one, calmly and firmly. For example, say, I'm not comfortable discussing this, or simply removing yourself. Go grab a cup of hot chocolate, right? Find an emotional safety in a glimmer of positivity, maybe a memory, a happy photo. But overall, be kind to yourself, okay? Use positive self-talk. We've got to do this more. I'm guilty of not doing this as much as I could as well. So it says here, when you feel triggered, you might ask yourself, of course, that still affects me, or the holidays are tough for a lot of people. I know I'll get through this, and always think it could be worse. Sometimes we're like, oh God, this is so horrible. It really could be worse. So be grateful for your lot in life. Be grateful for what the Almighty has given you, whether it's people, friends, or the lack thereof, which that means that just might be a time of self-reflection, introspection, loving yourself, self-care. Even if you are alone in the holidays and some of your kids might be alone, be mindful of that. And some of your kids don't come from 2-parent households. Some of your kids are in foster care systems. It's like a lot going on, right? So with that said, be mindful that even if you are alone, you can make the best out of those lonely days. You can do so many different things. Read a book, go to the beach, go biking, go hiking, go swimming, be out. Just because you're alone doesn't mean you're alone, right? You can go out. You need a place to go, start at Walmart. Just say it. Go to the mall, go to the beach, go somewhere, go to the movies. Don't sulk in this woe is me, but get up and choose to do something amazing. Choose to enjoy the moment for yourself. Seize the moment because you're amazing. And, when the time is right, you will have the right people around you. And that's what matters, right? So I hope this helps. And so this is pretty cool that they were talking to us about this. There's another one more article that I kind of want to share just really briefly as we're wrapping up here. And it's talking about creating calm in your classroom, teachers. So we talked about triggering, but now we need to talk about creating a calm. So it says here, 7 ways to create calm around the holidays. It says a quiet start to the day. So every morning, start with a quiet start. The lights are dim, calm music played. Ooh, I would like to be in this classroom. And a simple message greeting the students. Good morning. Get comfortable, quiet your mind, and take a few minutes to jot down one thing that feels good about today. Now, listen, you got to add hot chocolate to that. If you're going to do that to the students, you got to add like hot chocolate, coffee, tea, something, right? Anyways, I know in my classroom, I definitely would. It says here, some students journaled, others colored, mindfulness, mandalas, and a few simply sat and breathed. Of those quiet 5 to 10 minutes, that set the tone for the entire day. Beautiful. Okay. Quick breathing breaks. Take a deep breath. We said that. Snowflake breath. Imagine a soft snowflake drifting through the air. Breathe it in as it floats to you. Okay, great. Hot cocoa breath. Inhale slowly to smell the cocoa. Excellent, excellent. Gift box breath. Inhale, exhale, pause for 4 counts each, tracing each square of the gift box in the air. Next, step 3, micro movement between lessons. So stretch and switch, balance challenge, mindful walking. I like this. And then step 4, sound to silence. So one of the favorite mindfulness moments involved a simple activity. I would turn on a song, slowly lower the volume. Students knew to close their eyes and raise their hand when they could no longer hear the sound. Then we sit for a few extra seconds of silence. I like that. That's an attention grabber. Good. All right. So as you can see here, cool. The calm corner. This is where students need space. I think every class needs that. Oh my word. You need to have a safe place. This is not incarceration. This is, the opportunity to teach our babies, right? And then a mindful transition into winter break. So what I'm taking with me, so students would draw or write something that they learned or something they were feeling about it. Well, this is fabulous. And who wrote this? This was Edutopia, Donna Paul. So, all right, guys. So thanks so much again for joining me on the Let's Get Gritty podcast with yours truly, Dr. India White. I was thrilled to share that with you. Remember, this show will be available on Spotify. You will also be able to see it on all of my main social media platforms and my social media platforms. You've got Facebook as Miss India White. LinkedIn is The India White. Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach. Instagram is Indie238. YouTube is India White123. And TikTok is Dr. India White. My website is www.india-white.com. So feel free to go there and check that out as well. And so with that said, I just appreciate y'all and everything you do. So no matter what you do, continue to stay gritty. Know that you're amazing and that I'm totally here for all of you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in again. Until next time, stay gritty.